Great. Thank you very much. I think we did the show of hands of how many people have a Amazon Echo. How many people have an Amazon Echo? I missed that part. Okay, quite a few. I'm really excited because I don't know, and hopefully those of you who have an Amazon Echo feel the same way, because it's such an exciting device. It really, changed the way that that I thought about voice. And I think, one of the most amazing things about it is, I'm in the connected home space, and my kids and my wife love it. And so usually they're like, "Oh, Dad, leave us alone." But it's really a device that's changed their life. And so it's great to have Charlie here, who is really one of the pioneers in making far-field voice a reality. So welcome, Charlie.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So maybe just let's start at the beginning. How does an idea like Alexa get started in a company like Amazon and move from kind of like an idea to a project with momentum to actually a shipping product without, getting lost in all the other priorities that you guys obviously have?
Yeah, Amazon has a culture of invention. It's a kind of ingrained into the way that everything we do, where there's always new ideas are put forth and taken seriously. In this case, it really started with the general idea, the recognition that for the last million or so years, voice has been the primary way that humans interacted. And as we get computers to the point where they're smarter and they're more capable, the most natural UI for interfacing with technology is going to be voice. But no one had really cracked the nut of making it so that you could have the equivalent of the Star Trek computer in your home. That was actually the phrase that was used really early on, is for the vision of this. How can we enable that vision of Jean-Luc Picard talking to the Enterprise in Star Trek within the home? And that's how it started. We have a process at Amazon where we call it working backwards from the customer. You write down what you think the customer experience is going to be, and you work back from that. And that's how the idea got going.
Wow, fantastic, fantastic. And then you just get enough momentum. You get a small team working on it, and you just kind of move it from there. And was there a point where you realized, wow, this is a blockbuster product. This is really going to change the way people work?
Yeah, the early, when we first released the product, it was released in a kind of an invite-only beta. Any customer could do it, but they had to kind of know how to get into the system to be invited to buy the product. And right away, we started seeing signs that we're kind of onto something here. But the real moment where we realized it was a hit was when we opened up the reviews on Amazon.com, where customers could write and rate the product on Amazon. You also have seen Amazon detail pages where you can rate and review products. And really quickly, there were 30,000 reviews on the site with 4.5 stars out of 5-star rating across all those 30,000 reviews. And this was relatively early on in the product lifecycle. And the way that Amazon sorts reviews is based all on machine learning and heuristics, and it generally tries to sort the ones that customers view as the most helpful reviews to the top. And the ones at the top were full of things like, "This product has changed my life. Mm-hmm. I'm using this all the time, and I'm a disabled person, and I now can do all these things. It's freed me up." Something like 50% of the mentions within the reviews have the word love in them. So that was when we saw that, we're like,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Wow. Fantastic. And, when you look at connected home, it's really kind of maybe not obvious. I mean, the experience of controlling your connected home devices with Alexa is really a magical experience. But, if you look at where we've come from, connected home's been around a long time, started with, let's say, X10 in, the 70s to, now where we are today. What do you think happened in that transition to move from, where we were, where it was always like something promising, but we never got any traction, to, where we are today?
How many of you would consider yourselves to be home automation or connected home enthusiasts? Yeah, so 10 or 15 people. You understand what it means to be a nerd in this space. I've been doing it for a long time. I know Stuart's been doing it for a long time. You mentioned X10 was invented in 1974. It's not like these things are new. We've been trying this for a long time, mostly up till now. If you wanted to have a smart home, you were either super rich or you were a complete nerd. Generally, if you did do that, you were the only one in the house that ended up using any of this stuff.
Right.
And what we found with what we've enabled with Alexa and Echo and the smart home are these really simple scenarios that are really delightful for customers. It's as simple as being able to be sitting in your reading chair, reading a book, and the sun's going down, and instead of having to get your phone out, go to the whatever smart home app you have and say, turn on the reading light, or get up and walk across the room and flip a switch. You say, Alexa, turn on the reading light, and the light comes on. That's not really about automation. Yeah. It's not about doing things automatically. It's about really simple experiences that work in the moment. And what we find is, and I have this in my own anecdote in my home, where I've had the house we've been in for 15 years. It's one of these houses that's completely wired from the ground up. I have wire bundles about that big around of Cat5 wire. And my wife has never used any of it. She's like, give me a real button to push and I'll turn the lights on and they better work every time. But since we've put Echo in the house, she now uses it all the time for these simple things. I had a colleague yesterday tell me a story that very similar. His wife actually now is asking him to buy smart shades for the windows that can go up and down. And he's like high-fiving me because this stuff is actually now being used. And so the difference between what's happened before and now is voice as the UI for the home is enabling these everyday delightful experience that everybody wants to use.
Yeah, I think certainly super simple. Like all the overhead of like they used to do in terms of like creating scenes and all that stuff. Just and the user interfaces were crappy, and it was like, oh, it's just and then something didn't work, right? And I think that simple idea of doing something simple and easy and frictionless, right. And frictionless I think is really where it's where it becomes magical, yeah. Right? And one of the things that's really interesting about all of the Echo, the Dot, the Tap, they don't have screens, which is maybe counterintuitive, or let's say counterintuitive to me, or maybe goes against the flow of kind of where you see things like devices like this going. And do you think voice can eliminate screens altogether? How did you think about that in designing the product?
When we built Echo and Alexa, we took the approach that it was a voice forward, a voice only approach, and that meant that we couldn't use the screen as a crutch. We had to have the end-to-end experience work all the way from the customer saying something with voice, all the way to what we call a text-to-speech response, the response that Alexa gives back with voice, with no screen in there to be a crutch.
Right.
And as a result of that, we had to do the hard work to really close that loop. And so we do believe that voice can be the primary UI, and again, because humans use speech as the primary way they communicate, it's very natural. Screens will always be around. The humans also communicate to a lesser extent with visual cues, and so screens will always be around. But we think we're going to see the tipping point where voice becomes the primary,
right? And
touch interactions, motion interactions, become secondary.
Fantastic. Maybe just we'll pause there for a second and see. Are there any questions from the audience? Does anyone have any questions? Sure.
That's a great question. Let me echo it back to make sure that everyone else heard it. Today, within Alexa, most of the interactions you have tend to be a one-shot interaction. Alexa, what is the time? And she'll tell you the time. Or Alexa, turn on the kitchen lights. We do have examples in the product where we do a fair amount of dialogue management, where you say, Alexa, add an item to my calendar, and she'll come back and she'll say, what time and date would you like that for? And you say, Tuesday at 3 p.m. And then she'll come back and she'll say, what's the subject? So we do have that in the product today. It's not in the normal use cases where most customers are using the product. We also have, there's a concept, it's a strange name you learn when we deal with speech, called anaphora.
Okay.
Anaphora is short-term memory in dialogue. So as I'm talking to you, you remember the context of what I'm talking about, and we can have a follow-on conversation without having to remind each other of the context. It's called anaphora. Okay. And Alexa actually does support the concept of anaphora today. Yeah. A great place where you can test this out is in the local search capability, where you're saying, Alexa, where's the nearest Indian food? And she'll reply back, India Gate, which is 2.5 miles away, and then you can say, what's the phone number? And she's remembered, she knows that you meant, oh, the India Gate phone number. So we do have some of that, and we're building more and more of that as we go.
And sorry, just we'll come back. I have a question. I get to interject. The Alexa, Amazon Alexa or Echo Alexa is really about ecosystems. And so, are there things that the CEOs in the audience here should be thinking about in terms of how they, build product, how they think about interacting with consumers, and what's your advice for them on that front?
First, I'll just point out that we started off with Echo being an end-to-end customer experience, an app, if you will, an experience, and we've now pivoted where we're enabling it as a third-party platform to allow everybody to plug in. And we have two primary toolkits that you as developers or startups can use. The first we call Alexa Voice Services, AVS. By the way, both of these are publicly documented. They're open, available for free. AVS, the purpose of it is allow you as a company to build devices that are like the Echo device. So Invoxia has a product called Tribe, which is a wall mount device. It supports Alexa just like Echo does today. Ford has announced that they're going to be supporting Alexa in cars using this service. So if you have a device you're building or even an app, and you want to make it so that you can have all of Alexa come through that device or app, you can use that to do that. So I'd encourage you to take a look at AVS, Alexa Voice Service. The other kit we have is called the Alexa Skills Kit, or ASK. And the point of the Alexa Skills Kit is for you to be able to extend Alexa's capabilities. So if you have a service you're building, a great example of this is Uber is now supported on Alexa. Uber used the Alexa Skills Kit to extend Alexa so that Alexa knows what it means to order a car. So I can say, Alexa, order a car from Uber. And she'll come back and she'll say, the car will be here in 4 minutes. And so you can use that API as well to extend the platform. Ecobee, for example, has used the Alexa Skills Kit to make sure that Alexa knows how to control Ecobee thermostats. So I can say, Alexa, set the upstairs temperature to 69 degrees. And she'll do that through the work that Stuart's company has done. So that's an example of that.
Yeah, and I can certainly say from our customer base, it is the fastest growing, connected home ecosystem that our customers are adopting. Like the adoption rate from the time that we, announced the Skills Kit to, people signing up and using it was unbelievably fast, versus any other, connected home ecosystem that we might play in, and customers absolutely love it.
Yeah, and it's nice that we also have the ability to help drive sales.
Yep.
A lot of these products end up getting sold on Amazon, and that we're seeing from partners that engage on Alexa that they see lifts in their product sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions from the audience? Yeah, to be clear, we're still in a situation where the setup, the initial configuration of these products isn't always super seamless. Companies like Ecobee has made it a lot better, and for the most part, Alexa is dependent on those experiences. But take, it's a 20-minute, 30-minute experience to get Ecobee connected once you have it wired in. Yep.
Once you do that, the use of it is as simple as using voice.
It's pretty simple, right? So there's an automatic device discovery. You can find the devices that are, Alexa enabled on the, on the network already. So that setup, that link between, which is, and really the link is, enable this device, don't enable this device. There's really nothing else to set up. So that connection is super simple.
If you can connect to Pandora, or you can connect to Spotify within a mobile app, you can set up Alexa Smart Home.
Yeah, it's really pretty simple. And then the use case afterwards is they're all super simple. I mean, it's just talking, right? That's what makes it so great. It's, you don't have to set anything else up. Play my music, what's the news? Read me the news, tell me what I've got on tomorrow. All that kind of stuff is really fantastic. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great question asking about security and how we're protecting customers from nefarious people who are trying to use this as vectors. We've designed the APIs and we designed the voice models such that that it's in the customer's control. There's skills today for Alexa that third parties have built that are banking skills. And those skills are designed such that for the customer to be able to use them, a PIN is required. That is just as an example. One of the things that I do want to talk about relative to security and privacy with Alexa is we've really carefully designed this from the very beginning to be secure and to protect customers' privacy. We take that very seriously. We think we don't believe that we have the right to have customers put this in their homes. We think we have to earn that right. And the only way we earn that right is by earning customer trust. So we take that very, very seriously.
Sure.
Yeah, we have a metric we use called goal success rate, GSR, that we use to drive the percentage of times customers are successful in accomplishing something across the product. Across the board, we don't release new capability until we're in the 90% range. The key though is that all of this is built on machine learning. We use neural networks and deep learning technologies so that the more customers use it and the more customers that use it, the better it gets. And that's really the key here, is that this really is about a statistical model where we don't actually have to design the UI. The customers are effectively designing it by using the product.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Yeah, to recap the question for everybody else, Alexa has the ability with the platform capabilities. As you build skills for Alexa, they're available to customers in effectively a marketplace with ratings and reviews and search and so forth, like you see in app stores. We don't actually call it a skill store. It's just the skills capability of Alexa. And we're constantly improving that experience. You'll notice that just in the last couple of weeks, we've added additional filters and search capability because we're now at the point where we have over 500 third-party skills available on Alexa, things like the Uber skill, things like the Ecobee skill, and hundreds more in the pipeline. We're now at that kind of explosive growth stage, and we're playing a little bit of catch-up in the UI that we expose both with voice and in the companion app, which is a mobile app that you can use to configure your Alexa experience. We're playing a little bit of catch-up there as the adoption growth is a little bit ahead of us, but we'll catch up and make that truly delightful, more and more delightful over time.
So you're obviously, you're getting lots of traction. You're selling lots of devices, but is it about devices? Is there, what's the end game, and where do you think we are, say 5 years from now?
I'll go back to what I said before. I think in 5 years from now, voice is going to be ubiquitous.
Yep.
We are going to pass that tipping point where it will be the UI for the home, if not everywhere else. And that's where we're going. Is we
and you
want
think that'll be the natural? You walk into your house, you'll say, "Turn on the lights," read me the news, or turn on the TV, or record this, or whatever it is, right? Pretty much replacing, I guess, the use of really mobile devices and desktops to a certain extent in homes.
This is what we're hearing from customers today.
Right.
That they do believe that's the case. They're buying not only our products but all the third-party products as part of this ecosystem and using them. Like, it's not like a lot of technologies where people buy them and they sit on the shelf.
Yeah.
There is significant usage of these very delightful, simple, voice-enabled experiences today. And so, yes, we do believe that's the case.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's. You want one more question? Okay, we have time probably for one more question. Go ahead.
It's a good question. I'll echo back. Today, when you interact with Echo and Alexa, it's almost exclusively a request-response model. You say something to her and she responds back. There's very few things that the product does where she does something proactively out of the blue. It's kind of, think about it like she doesn't speak unless spoken to model. That's primarily where we are today. There are tons of experience that customers are asking about where they'd like her to be doing things on their behalf more proactively. And so, yeah, we take that very seriously and we're looking at it.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I think that's all the time we have.
All right, great. Thank you. Appreciate it.